Record the yeah, okay. Yeah, hello guys, very good evening. So sorry for interruptions. So in the last Subharat boss, can you enable the screen share option? Subharat. So in the last sessions, so guys, in the last previous sessions, we have discussed some commands like how to alter the table and how to truncate and how to update the existing data. And we have discussed aggregative functions which are widely using. So like sum, average, and how to find minimum, maximum, and how to count the total, how many records are there in the table. So in the today's sessions, we are going to see the some very useful classes or commands. So those commands are order by, group by, and havings, and some of the constraints also. So let's start from order by. So guys, actually order by. So order by, it is a class in SQL. So that is used to sort the result from the selected statement, either ascending order or a descending order. So for example, you have fetched the records from the table. So now you want to sort the records in either ascending order or a descending order. So in that case, we can use order by class. So basically it sorts the records in ascending order by default. If you want to sort the record in descending order, you have to use the descending keyword. So by default, SQL will automatically convert the records in ascending order. So if you want to sort the results, which is fetched from the table in a descending order, we have to mention manually descending keyword, des keyword. We need to mention manually. So the basic syntax for performing some operations using order base like this syntax for ordering, syntax for ascending order. So basically always we need to use the select statement for fetching any kind of records or from which table. So then we need to use the order by keyword. Order by keyword on which column we are going to apply on that order by keyword. So that column name, column 2, and we need to mention ascending or descending, which one is. So whether you mentioned ascending or you didn't mention, it doesn't matter. So MySQL will automatically convert in ascending order by default. So this is the command for if you want to fetch the result, if you want to sort the result in a descending order, then we need to follow syntax like this. So up to here, this syntax is same. So after order by the class, we need to mention the disk keyword. So then it will sort the records in a descending order. So let's see the examples. So in the last session, we have used some student. So for using tables, we need to use the first database, use PCS. Then I'm going to fetch the all the records from tables. So we can use command like this. Select start from student. And if you execute, it will give the results. So no, I don't want to use every time. I don't want to use this command. You can simply do like this. So hover the mouse on specific table and you will get the three options. on the last options. Click that, it will display the results. So here we have a some data. So for example, I want to sort the names, full names in ascending order. In ascending order. So for that, we need to use commands. Select star from student. So after that, we need to use order by keyword. Order by. So on which column? Where are you applying this order by column? So full name. So, so if you execute this command, it will display in the ascending order by default. So it start from E in an alphabetic order. So for a string, it will take in an alphabetic order. So it start from E, H, K, L, M, V like this. Or else if you want to perform in a descending order, we need to mention keyword, this keyword. Then it will sort the result in a descending manner. So it starts from V and ends with E. So basically, order by class is used to sort the results which was selected from the records. So the another one is group by class. So yeah, guys, actually group by is a class in SQL. So that is used to arrange the identical rows in a group into a single group. So into a single group. So actually this group by functions we have to use under the aggregate functions or group of functions. So we can call it group of function or aggregate functions. So the aggregate functions we have already discussed in the last sessions. So those aggregate functions also comes under the group of functions. So the reason why we are calling that to group of function means so that aggregation functions like minimum, maximum, count. So those functions are, we are applying those functions on multiple records, not a single record. So we are applying multiple records. So that's why it is called a group of functions. So as I said, this group by class is used under the group functions. So like count, sum, average, minimum, maximum, etc. So the basic syntax for using group by class in the select statement is, so select and which column we need to mention, and from as usual from which table, and group by or which column. We can perform multiple columns also. So for example, here we have a, so let's take, we have a some initial. So initial, we have a C, Y, B, B, B. So we have multiple initial names with same name. So each and every initial name has a on different prices. So to perform, so I need to calculate some values, and we need, and I also need to group all the initials along with to find the sum values. So in that case, we can use group by class. For example, select full name, select full name, initial, so sum on price from our table name is student. So student. So now we need to apply the group by class. Sorry guys, group by. On which column we are going to use the group by class on price. So group by price. So if we execute this command, so unknown column. Oh, sorry guys, initial. Select to list is not in group by class. And containing. So not right. Okay. 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 Sorry. So we need to mention initial. So from this command, we can conclude that. So the initial, we have a, for example, we can find the count of initial. So basically this commands tells we have a initial, we have a 4 initial of B and the sum is 899 and we have a 3 C's and we have a 1X and we have a 1Z and we have a 2Ks. So this command is telling like, so it is grouping all initials and how many initials are there on this, this is the count, how many initials are there and corresponding some values. It is displaying corresponding some values like this. So it is the grouping identical values into a single row. So let's suppose if you want to perform another example, not this one, yeah, this one. So now I want to fetch the full names and count. I need to find the count. So how many names are identical? Want to find also. So for that we need to use select full name. So we need to find count. So for that we need to use the count. Count on which function? Full name from student. So we are applying group by class on full name. So basically it is saying in our SQL tables, a Muni, we have only one movie names start with two. Muni has only one. So we have a 3 Venkatesh and we have a 2 Ishwar, Mani and something random text. So that is the useful of a group by functions. So in a conclusion, we can say that it's a group by class. It is used to group the identical data into a single form. So this group by functions, here is a one case. So this group by functions, we have to use group by functions under the aggregate functions only. Then only it will execute and then only it will give the results. So if you don't use the aggregate functions along this command, so definitely it will throw error. Not throw, it will display only the select names. So it won't group the names. So if I want to sort the results, so count full name. So here I have grouped the full name. So we have a sim. So now I need to sort this full name in a ascending order. Can use that, not this way. Okay, what if we use- So we have grouped the records. That means full names. So after groupings, I need to sort the result in ascending order. So when you execute this command, it will display the result in ascending order. So if you want to sort the result in a descending order, obviously we can use this keyword, order by column, and we need to use the this keyword. If it executes, then it will sort the result in a descending order. So the next command, next class is having. So basically, having, so actually it is a class in SQL. So that is used to filter the result set in a group by class. So that means, so after grouping our data, so if you want to filter those grouping datas in some conditions, so in that case, we can use the having class. So here it is used to mention conditions on the groups being selected. So in other words, having is mainly used with the group by class to filter the result that a group by returns. So in a simple term, we can say that after returning the group by class, so when you performing group by class, you will get some results. So you need to add some filters. You need to add some conditions on that to resulting data. So in that case, we can use having class. So actually the having and where class both are looking similar, but that where statement is used with the select statement. But that means it is applied on a single statement. But this having class is used to filter the result on group of results. So see, it is a similar to where class, but it operates on the result of groupings. So the where class places conditions on the selected statement column. So whereas the having class places condition on a group created by the group by class. That is the only main difference. So the basic syntax for if you want to use the having class is the basic syntax like a select, obviously column, and we need to use the proof functions, from which table, and we can perform some where conditions also. And after this group by columns, we can group the similar identical columns, and after that we can apply having functions on group of on result of group. So if you want to see this in our table, so in our table we have a prices, and we have a initial, we have a identical initials, and for each initials we have a different prices. So now my task is, so I need to group the initials and I need to find the sum for all the initials, like grouping those initials were grouped, and I need to apply filters. So those sum, which sum is greater than 500, those result I need to result I need to I want that kind of results. In that case, we can use the having class. So for example, select uh, select initial. So I need to find, so how many initials are there. So for that I need to initial. Close this. So I need to sum the grouping functions. Hello, hello, who's this? Oh, guys, kindly mute. So I need to sum the prices value of initial. So for that, we need to use the group functions like sum, and we need to mention the column. On which column we are going to use the group functions. Price, in my case, price. So from which table? Student. So from which table? It is student. So now I need to group all initials. So group by initial. So now we have the results, like if you exhibit. So we have 4Bs, and the 4B sum is 892, and C's and this. So now I need to apply one conditions on some phrase. So I need to display the, so I want to only records. So those sums greater than 500. So in that case, we can having, so some function. So again, here we need to use the group by function, uh, group functions. Sum on which price? So the sum price, which one is greater than 500? So this command will give the exact results what I want. So for example, we have this one record checked, and so we have only one record. So which is less than 500. So if you execute, see we didn't. So this command didn't give the jet. So that is the having class. So now if I want to fetch the result whose value is less than 500, simply case. If you execute, and it will give the jet initial only. So that is the use of the having function. So for example, so here we can find, here we're going to discuss operators. As you already know, operators are very useful. So I need to find the whose value is exact whose value is equal to 892. So we didn't find anything because we don't have the exact value. So greater than 500. So if you find the exact result, we need to give the 892.09. It will give the records greater than 500. So it is giving all the records. So for example, now I want to sort this result in ascending order. So we can use order by initial. So if you execute this command, so it will sort the results in ascending order. So if you want to descend, you can use the descending order. So like this, in a descending manner. So that is the use of the having class. So for example, we can we'll see another example. Mm. So guys, that is the use of the having class. So these three classes are widely using. So if you want to sort the result, you can use order by class. So if you want to group the identical values into a single, in that case, we can use group by class. So if you want to filter the result which came from the group by class, in that case, we can use having class. So this having class comes after the group by class. So if you use before group by class, it will throw error. So then we have a data constraints. So the basics definition of a data constraint means, so constraints, it is a set of rules we can apply on some data. So rules are nothing but to some constraints. So for example, we can apply some rules on data whichever you want. For example, let's take age. So let's take age. So those who is having greater than 18, he is only eligible for vote. So in that case, this is a one kind of a constraints or rules. So data constraints in SQL are used to specify rules for the data in a table. So we can specify the data, specify the rules on a specific row in a table, like a specific column on a table. So we can apply multiple constraints in a single table. So constraints are used to limit the type of data that can go into the table. So that means, so before saving into the table, it is basically it will validate. So this ensures that accuracy and reliability of the data in the table. So by applying the constraints, we can get the results like accuracy and reliability of the data. So in SQL, we have a 5 kinds of data constraints. One is primary key, and another is unique and not null, and check constraint, and finally we have a foreign key. So I think we have already discussed primary key. So primary key basically it is a constraints we can apply on specific columns. So the basic functionality of a primary key is it doesn't allow duplicate values and null. So each table should contain only one primary key. So that is the role of SQL. And we are going to discuss another constraint. So that is nothing but a unique. So by reading the unique, we can easily understand unique. That means it does not allow duplicate values. So basically the unique, it is any constraints, ensures that all the values in a column are different. So that means in our table we have a lot of values. So for example, we can apply unique constraint on specific columns. So in that column, we have only unique values. It doesn't allow duplicate values. So that is each value in the column should occur only once. See, so it allow only once. It doesn't allow twice. So the basics difference between a unique key and a primary key is nothing but two. So unique key, it allow null values. It allow null values, but the if you enter any value, it should be unique. But whereas in a primary key, it doesn't allow duplicate values and null values. That is the main difference between unique and primary key constraints. See, so both the unique and primary key constraints provide a guarantee for uniqueness. So obviously, as I said, it provide the guarantee for our uniqueness for a column or set of columns. So as I said, we can apply a unique key on a set of columns. So however, a primary key cannot contain null since it uniquely identified each row. So as I said, primary key, it doesn't allow the null values. And each table can have only one primary key. So on the other hand, so unique constraints allows for one null values, and table can have multiple unique constraints. So as I said, we can apply unique constraints on multiple columns also. There is no rules to apply only one column. So we can apply multiple unique constraints on multiple columns. So the basic syntax for applying, okay, for constraints on a specific column is, so while creating the, so we can apply in a two ways. One is while creating table, we can directly mention so column name and which data type, and we can specify unique. So on the other hand, we can add a unique constraint to existing table. So we can add unique constraints after the table has been created by using the alter command. So this is the syntax for adding unique constraints on existing table. So alter table name, add unique. So which column? So as I said, we can apply unique constraints on multiple columns. So in the bracket, we can specify multiple columns names. So column one, column two, column two. So for dropping, so the same comment, we can use the alter table name and drop the comment. So to now we are going to see the example with the unique constraint. So, so basically, every person has a unique contact number. So no one can have a duplicate contact number. So basically, every person has a unique contact number. So now I'm going to apply the unique constraint on contact detail. So as I said, we can apply the unique constraints on contact column by using the alter command. So alter table. Table name, which one? Which table? Student. Add. So we need to add we need to add the unique constraint. We need to specify the constraint name here. So constraint name and column. So add unique on which kind of contact. See alter table. So we have successfully added unique constraint on specific column, that is contact column. So if you see the description of student, see the keys, we can find the keys. So on contact column, just now we added the unique constraints. So that means this contact column, it does never allow duplicate values. It only allow unique values. So if you try to insert one duplicate values, let's see the first result. So for example, take this one. So for example, uh, insert into student values. So let's give the ID 888, name as PCS, and initial P, and the price obviously we can give the something, and contact. So on the date of birth, so 2023 08. So if you execute this command, it will throw an error. See, insert into student values. So duplicate entry. So it is clearly saying that, so it is a duplicate entry in a student table. On which column? Contact column. So on contact column, in the contact column, we have already this number. So that is why it is showing a duplicate entry. So if I change like this, then it will execute. See, one row affected. If we see the result, so just now we have added triplet. So on the contact number. So that is the use of unique constraint. So let's suppose we can play unique constraint on one other column also. So for time being, assume that price. We are going to apply the unique constraint on price. So alter table action and column. So price. So actually duplicate entry. So we have already same value. So that is why it is showing duplicate entry problem. So if we see the description of a student. So basically we have only one key, unique key. So on contact number. So we don't have any primary key. So now we are going to add primary key constraints on field that is called ID. So like I said, alter table, add primary key, and which field? ID. So it will throw error because mm, because we have duplicate ID. So here we have a triplet, here we have a triplet. So definitely it will throw error. See, duplicate entry for triplet rate. So that means this unique constraints will never allow duplicate values. So the next one. So not null. So basically not null. So actually it is in constraint in a SQL. So it will validate that to column which has a not null constraints. That means that column should not contain any null values. So it should contain at least something with certain values. So see the not null constraint in SQL ensures that a column cannot have a null values. So it doesn't allow null values. So it doesn't allow the null values. So as I said, the unique also doesn't allow the null values. So the basic difference between the unique column, the unique constraints, it doesn't allow duplicate values. But in the not null, it allow duplicate values, but it cannot have null values. That is the main difference. So thus every row record must contain a value for that column. So it is a way to enforce certain field to mandatory while inserting records or updating the records. So for example, uh, if you are filling any forms, for example, if you are filling a job application form, so in that forms we can easily find out. So this field should not be empty. We need this field shouldn't be empty. So that is now in that case we can use not null values. So for example, for instance, if you are designing a table for employee data, so you might want to ensure that the employee ID and name are always provided. So in this case, you can use the not null constraint. So basically, what does it mean by is, so for example, for every employee data, we have an ID name. So in that name, the ID and the name must should be something. So it should not be a null value. So for creating, so as I said, there are two ways who can apply the not null constraints. One is while creating the table, who can apply the not null. Another one is by using the alter table, alter command. So adding, so you can also add not null constraint to the existing table using the alter table. So here is an example, alter table name. So here we need to use the modify command, address and varchar and not null. So this is the syntax provided by the SQL in MySQL. So we should follow this kind of way if you want to add not null to the existing column. So we are going to see that. For example, in our example, in our student table, we have a one null value in the data of birth. So here we are going to So here going to apply the not null on this column. So alter table, student name, student, modify. Which column we are going to modify? The DOB. So DOB, the data type is date. So we need to mention the constraint that is not null. So not null. So if you execute, so alter table because invalid use of null value. So we have already null values. So for time being open. So that is going to showing what we can do. So for typing, I am going to add the date of birth. So update student set DOB 2023 12 12 where ID is equal to 882. You are using the safe updated mode and you try to update the table. Yeah. So update is Mhm. Mhm. Change the settings. Okay. So alter table student modify full name full name where cat much like not null. So so the null is added on specific call, that is full name. So if you see the descriptions, like description, student. It doesn't save because it is not a key. So now we are going to insert some data. So for example, insert into student values. So I will give the ID as 999. So I will give the null. So actually null. So I will give the initial as agent. Then I will give the price. Then I will give the contact number. I give the date of birth. So if you execute this command, it will throw errors because column full name cannot be null. So here we are entering null. So that is why it is showing error like this. So guys, if you try to insert like this, it doesn't throw any error. See, the row is affected because we quotated that null in a single code. So that means the SQL will treat it as a name, not a null value. So that is why this statement successfully executed and it executed these values into the table. So if you want to see the results, see now, so now null is stored as a name, not a null. So that is why it is not showing any error. And as usual, these comments. So that is the use of not null. And the for another one is oh, sorry guys. Yeah, check constraints. So basically in SQL, check is a constraint. So that limits the value between the range. So that can place it in a columns. So like other constraints, as we applied other constraints, unique, not null. Same like this, we can apply these constraints on multiple columns, or we can apply single columns also. It's up to us. And it enforces domain integrity by limiting the values in a column to meet a certain condition. So on certain columns, you can make some conditions by using check constraints. For example, if you enter any value, for example, I want to make one conditions like, oh, yeah, if I enter any value, so that record should be between the range 100 to 200. In that case, we can use check constraints. So, as I said, this is the one way to create the check constraints, and the another one is want of the check constraint multiple times use the this command. This bunch command. Yes, so now we are going to apply this check constraint. For example, I need to check constraint. Yeah. So on price, I need to make a one conditions. So that is, so the price should be greater than 50. Let's consider greater than 50. So then only it will accept. So first we need to add check constraints on price column. We don't have any check constraints, so we can alter table name. So we need to add constraint. Alter table name. Constraint. So add constraint on price. Which means important to specify the check constraint. Oh, we need to specify the condition. So price greater than 100. So here I'm making a one conditions on price column. So that means, so whenever we are going to enter the price value always should be greater than 100. So then only it will accept the record and it will insert in a specific table. So otherwise it won't execute this command. So let's see with an example. So if you see the description, so basically it is not a key, so that is not showing. So we can insert some values like so price. For example, here I'm taking double two. So check see. So I'm giving price value as a 1990.87. Basically 2021. So if we execute this command, check constraint. So it is throwing error like check constraint student on is violated because it is not satisfying the conditions. Where price value like this, then it will execute the command successfully on row affected. So if we see the results, so successfully we are getting the result like 100. So that is the use of check constraint. Uh, for example, I want to apply check constraints. Mhm. So content initial ID. So for example, consider, so I want to apply a check constraint on, so DOB. So DOB like this, like those whose birthday date of birth is 2023-09-08. So then only it will accept, otherwise it won't accept. I need to that kind of conditions. So simply alter table name, add check on which column? So DOB. I need to give the condition like is equal to equal, equal, yeah. So 2023. So check constraint check 3 is violated. Oh, so actually we're not performing the assignment operation. So we'll give the conditions like greater than those kind of else. Description student. So for example, I want to give the check constraints on ID. Like, so we have reached the limit. That means triple it. So if your ID number is 1000, you should not allow the records. That means it won't. No, I don't need to insert the records into any existing table. So in that case, we can apply the check constraint like alter table name student. So we need to add check constraint on which column? ID. So the ID should always less than 1000. So then only it will accept the result and it will insert into the existing table. So if you execute this command, wait. So condition, now the condition has been applied on existing table, on specified kick table like students. So now if you try to insert ID data with ID like 1000, so if you run a text and if you try to give the values like this 99.9, the date of birth is always, so if you try to execute it will throw error. See, check constants. So student check one is violated. So this means this one column is violated because we reached the conditions. That is why it is showing error like this. So if you try to enter less than 1000, for example 345, again it will give the error. So because check constant student check what is violated. So because here we didn't get the specific message. So we can simply assume that, yeah, there is some conditions. This command is not satisfying. So that is why it is showing error. So here we have mentioned already 1,100. And if you give the values 100.00, it won't accept. because we measure the conditions like it should greater than 100, not a greater than or equal to 100. So if you enter the value like this, then it will accept. Oh, duplicate values. Here we update the duplicate values. Here the record has been inserted successfully. So if you see the result, so insert our ID number is 345. So here it is a confusing. So the IDs are there in a different positions. So no, I don't know. I want to sort in order ID in ascending order. So you can simply like this. So select star from student. So order by ID. So if you execute this command, it will give the results in ascending order. You can clearly see that. Yeah, that's it, guys, today. So we will discuss these constraint foreign key constraints in another sessions because because this foreign key constraint will take approximately half an hour in order to discuss, in order to perform some actions. So that's why we're going to discuss these constraints in the next upcoming sessions. Yeah, okay, guys, that's it for today. So if you have any queries, you can ask me. I will send attendance links in the group chat, in our chat window.
Sir, please share the uh, document file.
Yeah, document file means attendance.
No, not attendance. Where what is you write in
Yeah,
that
this one, notepad. Yeah,
document?
okay, okay. Don't worry, I will send you.
Notepad, yes.